Hello and welcome to RwandaTV News. I am Isabel Masozera. Thank you so much for watching. Now on to our top stories today. Vulnerable local residents in Nyanza district of the southern province who have been provided with homes and household supplies by the youth and women of RPF Nkotanyi have expressed gratitude for the gesture. And on Friday, about 61 engineers concluded workshops on internet technology, which aims at building the capacity of these engineers so as to address the challenges in the sector and to cope with the evolving world of technology. Now, thanks for choosing RTV News once more. I am Isabel Masozera. On to our top story. About 273 youth of Kayonza district have visited the Campaign Against the Genocide Museum and here in Kigali, as well as Kigali Genocide Memorial in Gisozi, in line with learning the true history of the country so that they make sure that what happened in the past does not happen again. Sajin Hore kicks us off.
Following the visits, the youth from Kayonza in the eastern province said they understand how much the country depends on the decisions they will be making moving forward. We understand that as today's youth living in a country with good leadership, be it those born after the genocide or survived it, as well as the descendants of people who prepared and participated in the atrocities, as young people, we must honor the pact that we have in the responsibility of building our country, preserving what has been achieved and promoting patriotism so that the progress that has been made is not lost. Government officials who were with them also noted on the importance of what they had seen and heard. They came on this study tour to learn about the history of their country, as Rwanda's future and the leaders of tomorrow. They are here to learn of how the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi was halted by young men and women like them, but also how many of the perpetrators were also youth participating in the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. The group is comprised of youth volunteers from Kayonza district, 171 male and 102 female.
All right, now in more news, up to 233 youth volunteers from Northern Province have started a week-long training on development and improved welfare for communities. Now, this training is taking place at Gishari in Ramagana district of the Eastern Province. Sajin Hore once more.
Local officials in particular understand the importance of the work youth volunteers engage in. Many of our initiatives, especially dealing with problems among communities, things like malnutrition, the young men and women help us by preparing vegetable gardens, and we thank them for it because in the rankings countrywide, Gicumbi youth are among the best performers, even when it comes to sensitization efforts. The youth in training are looking to further improve their performance after it is over. After I go back to my home district, I will not ignore that our province has some of the worst malnutrition and stunting figures in the entire country. We are therefore going to go down to the local level in communities to teach people what a balanced diet is and why it is important, as well as how to take it. Government officials present urged the young men and women to realize their potential in nation building.
Urubyiruko nibo bashobora kwihutisha amakuru, urubyiruko nibo bashobora kugira ahantu henshi hashoboka.
The youth can provide the most information quickly and are able to reach many areas. The volunteer work they do does not replace the jobs that sustain them. Those are things they do in their free time. We want this spirit of volunteering to take root in older generations as well, becoming a culture, and a good volunteer is always exemplary in all they do and say. Their discipline and ideological clarity, committed to the country's choices of uniting Rwandans and playing their part in that process. There are 4,870 youth volunteers in the country, and were most visible during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, helping to ensure that the preventive guidelines were being respected, and have since taken on responsibilities in different developmental initiatives.
Very reassuring. Now, in more news, the survivors of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi that live in Chibeninha village, Nyamirambo sector in Nyarujenje district have appreciated the fact that their houses that were built in 1997 and became old have been rebuilt. Gislin Mugwaneza has more.
Chibeninha village is the first village that was built for the survivors of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi. The village has 234 households, but some of them needed to be rebuilt, and it has been done during Umuganda community work that was carried out in this village. The survivors have appreciated the action. I'm so happy that I'll be seeing this action and say I have Rwandans who care for me, even though the genocide perpetrators destroyed my entire family. But I have got other Rwandans that are helping me to live better in my old ages.
People take me out of the house and help me to the car, which is the same when I want to get out of the vehicle, returning to my house. I really needed them to clear a way for me, to be able to get to the car and back to my house. And now they're doing it, and I appreciate it.
The president of Ibuka in Nyarujenje district, Rutaisire Masengo, has said that the problem of having houses that need to be rebuilt will be solved in partnership with different officials.
The houses built here are old, and there is a plan to rebuild the houses for these survivors in partnership with Nyarujenje district and Kigali city. We shall rebuild their houses because it's been a long time since they were constructed. It is pleasing to the survivors of the 1994 genocide against the Tutsi that the action has started, which also comforts the survivors and brings hope that they are not alone.
It's been 25 years since these houses got built. Nyarujenje district officials have noted that Umuganda community work that was carried out in this village was really needed.
Between 1997 and now, you understand that it has been a lot of years, and there are houses that had begun to get old, making it necessary to rebuild some of them as part of the country's program to preserve what has been achieved. It was also really needed so that those who live in the houses keep on leading good and comfortable lives.
The Embassy of the Kingdom of Morocco in Rwanda that also attended the activity has granted 200 sacks of cement as a contribution to rebuild the houses. Ambassador of Morocco to Rwanda, Youssef Iman, confirms that Umuganda activity is the Rwandan uniqueness. Chibeninha village residents were urged to pay their health insurance as soon as possible. Gislin Mugwaneza, RTV News.
Thank you, Gislin. Now on to business matters. According to Broadband Commission for Sustainable Development, the virtual healthcare has grown globally since the COVID-19 pandemic began. Now this was mentioned this Saturday in the report of the Commission. Oliver Nhede with more.
Members of this commission notes that the growth in the use of virtual health and care was at 14.5% before COVID-19 pandemic, and currently it is at 21.8%. According to the commission, due to the rapid pace of globalization, technology is very important in a wide range of services, including healthcare. Mr. Lassine Nkone, the Director General of the Smart Africa, notes that people need to adapt to the changes that are currently happening, especially the use of technology in various services.
The medical doctors are very comfortable today in actually diagnosing patients at the remote location using different apps. If you see what happened to the banking sector, what the telecom or the mobile technology has done to the banking sector, it will happen also in the medical sector. If I can consult my bank account, I can do all my transactions while sitting in my office or sitting on the couch at my home. why I cannot consult my doctor on the application also. Same thing. The same thing will happen. So you really consider the next 5 years to come, it will be the time for the health tech application and for our entrepreneur also to prosper.
The Minister of ICT and Innovation, Paula Ingabire, notes that the health tech innovations that are currently being created are beneficial in providing quality services to residents.
Ibi bihangano icyambere nuko ubu tumaze kubona ko ubuzima harimo akamaro ko gukoresha ikoranabuhanga.
There are various importances of health tech projects. First, we have seen that using technology in health services is essential because it makes it easier for residents to access to health services. And we have seen various examples from different countries, but I can mention one that we are currently using in our country. We work with a company called Babil. This company has developed a way to bring health services closer to residents. The most essential thing is to look at how technology can ease service provision to residents at a cheaper price.
Ku banyarwanda cyangwa ku baturage mu bihugu bitandukanye mu buryo bworoshye bifashishije ikoranabuhanga.
However, the World Health Organization representative to Rwanda, Dr. Brian Chirumbo, points out that there are still a number of challenges that hinders access to technology in health services.
So, two pieces of challenges that we have. One is access. We want to make sure everybody has access. Obviously, people who live in rural areas have challenges. People who are poor have challenges. So WHO is working with countries to address those issues. And those are some of the issues that are also addressed in the report. But in addition to that, we want to make sure there's quality health services. Access to quality health services.
The report of the Broadband Commission for Sustainable Development also reveals that in 2020 alone, 6 million users joined virtual health and care technology, while in the previous 8 years, only 5 million people used this kind of technology. Olive Nete, RTV News.
Thank you, Olive. Now, on Friday, about 61 IT engineers concluded workshops on internet technology, which aims at building the capacity of these engineers so that they can address challenges in the tech sector and for them to cope with the evolving world in technology. Olive Ntete once more.
Group trainings of the Rwanda Internet Community and Technology Alliance aims at building a community of engineers helping each other to operate internet infrastructure in Rwanda, as well as promoting the discussions of issues relating to implementation of new networks. Some of the trainees say that the knowledge gained in the trainings helped them in providing better services.
I think each and everyone here benefited from it because it seems like we gained new knowledge about the trending technologies. I think it will be a great milestone going forward, and it's always good to bring out people and to bring them together so that they can exchange their views and their experiences.
Grace Ingabire, the CEO of the Rwanda Internet Community and Technology Alliance, notes that since this training started in 2013, it has been beneficial in a number of ways.
So the feedback that we have been getting for the people who attend the training is that some of the organizations don't need experts anymore, who come here just to support an infrastructure that belongs to us. So we have had at least few organizations that we have working closely together that have testified the benefit of this training.
Alex Nare, the CEO of Rwanda ICT Chamber in the Private Sector Federation, notes that such trainings on technology assist in addressing various challenges so as to provide better services.
We are growing as a community and as a country. We are growing more and more dependent on connected services. So it is a core infrastructure element of the digital economy. And to us, as part of growing the digital economy, it's a crucial element that we need to make sure that our people are well equipped and skilled.
This is the 9th edition of the Rwanda Network Operators Group trainings, and about 500 trainees have acquired knowledge since the start of this program in 2013. In the program of this year, about 61 IT engineers from different institutions received these trainings. Olive Nete, RTV News.
Still watching RTV News. Now, vulnerable local residents in Nyanza district of the Southern Province who have been provided with homes and household supplies by the youth and women RPF Nkotanyi members have been expressing gratitude for the gesture, saying that it reminds them of the sacrifices of the soldiers of what used to be Rwanda Patriotic Army when they fought to halt the genocide against the Tutsi and successfully liberated the country 28 years ago. We have the details.
On Saturday, the RPF Nkotanyi youth and women in the district embarked on the construction of the final home for the vulnerable for this fiscal year, one more than they had committed to, having set out to construct 10 and done so ahead of schedule, and so decided to add this one that will belong to Maria Nyirahabimana, who has spent the last 6 months seeking lodging among her neighbors with all of her children after her house was destroyed by natural disasters.
This
house is going to solve many problems for me, and I'll be able to finally sleep in my own home again. And when I do, I will thank God and the RPF. I will be able to sleep soundly after a day of work, knowing I'll be able to go home to my own house.
After the umuganda activities, the RPF members then delivered supplies to 3 genocide widows and 1 widower, left as the sole survivors of their respective families after the atrocities that were committed during the genocide against the Tutsi in 1994.
I get emotional every time I talk about the RPF because it reminds me of how they fought for us when it looked like the entire country would just collapse. That was the first time I saw their courage. May they continue to prosper because they have shown me that I am not alone. Their soldiers are our children, and President Paul Kagame is like a parent to us. We are not afraid of anything anymore.
RPF officials in the district say they are determined that the party will fulfill its promises to the people.
Our job is to carry out sensitization campaigns and help our party to fulfill its promises. We had committed to building 1 house for the vulnerable in each sector, and all 10 houses were constructed. So we decided to build an 11th house of that woman, seeing that we still had time on the fiscal calendar. We do not build for just RPF members because the party serves all Rwandans.
The chairperson of the party at the provincial level in the south has reiterated that the needs of the local residents must remain the priority.
The RPF Women's and Youth Federations in the Southern Province have been engaged in a lot of developmental initiatives aimed at improving the social welfare of communities in line with the central government's policy, and we thank them for it. Today we carried out a special umuganda with a purpose, and that was to spread our message. They help to carry out sensitization campaigns that do not revolve just around words because we practice what we preach. They also help us to identify people in hardship and show them how they can overcome them.
The members delivered food supplies, clothes and other household utilities to the beneficiaries.
I hope I earned the pleasure of your time. I am Isabel Masozera, and on behalf of the entire RTV News team, thanks for watching.